Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I've been thinking that this has been a very interesting year in gaming. Piano again. Okay, I guess we'll go with that. Though to be fair, I'm kind of missing the bass soundtrack, but, you know, we'll deal with that another time. So let's go for a Ring of Reserves high-tempo build. And we're just going to have some fun talking about some of the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to this year in gaming. Now, obviously, this is going to be kind of a dated take. I mean, obviously, not everything that happens in the gaming world happens all at once. But, yeah, there's definitely been a lot to think about. But we're going to get to that after we have ourselves a build. Because I want to make sure that I'm going in with something that I enjoy using. I'm also kind of curious... nope, that's not the same as it used to be anymore. Okay, well... let's see. So Dragon Circuit is a good option. Deferred Dynamo is an interesting option. Like, that seems like more of a combo setup. That's right, Bird. That's an interesting one. I don't dislike it. I'm just not sure it's what I want to go with. Oh, someone's upset. Why are you so upset about Bird? She's probably just upset that not enough people are paying attention to her. Alright, I like that. So we're gonna go Storm Draft. Now what do we do for our standard? So many things that we could do. Let's have a look. Aqua Vortex isn't a bad option. It's a little too close range. Frost Scimitar is a pretty good option. I don't care about Rebounding Icicles. Alright, what does Fire have to offer in the way of multi-use? Explosive Charge, but that goes kind of against what I was using. Could use Dragon Arc, could use Flame Cleaver. I don't know, I'm really kind of playing around with this high tempo idea because it's something that I just designed on a whim and now I really like it. So we've already got Wind, so what do we have in other areas? That and that. It's not it, is it? Oh, Earthquake Axe. Of course not. Not sure I like those options. Let's see what Electricity has to offer. Okay, well, obviously we've got Radiant Beat. We've got Starbolt. Dragon Circuit is also particularly good. Okay, that is something I should focus on. I'm going to focus a different build around. Because actually I kind of like Shockwire, and I wouldn't mind focusing a different build around it. I think Flame Cleaver is the direction to go. Now, what basic do I use? I would say that seems a little too basic, but considering what the build is all about, yeah, here we go. So that's what we're going to do. High tempo using all sorts of things that are going to be fun to play around with. Now this is a projectile heavy build, so I'm betting you know where we're going to go first. That's right. We're going to Delaware. Someone will get that reference, I swear. Oh, hey, that was an unintentional rhyme. Hey, look at me making a fool out of myself. Speaking of making fools out of ourselves, where is the retro floor plan, sir? You know it's not one of my runs if I'm not doing a retro floor plan build. Or just a build that works well with retro floor plan. We know how it's described, Dark Sage. Just get on with it. I'll get on with it as soon as Nox decides he wants to stop playing coy. Come on, some of us have places to be. I mean, I don't for about another 13 and a half hours, but come on. Jeez. You should really just edit this out and give up my opportunity to make strange jokes? Surely you jest. No, this is where I get to complain endlessly, and you react and laugh and go, "Yep, I've been there before." Because, you know, we're all supposed to understand each other here. This is supposed to be one big family. And that's not a warning sign from a company that you're looking to get a job from. Trust me, if you're looking to get a job somewhere and they open, at least here in America, and they open with that line, or they spout that line of, "We're like a big family around here," what that really means is, we expect you to drop everything you're doing and work hard for us, even though we're not really giving you many benefits or reasons to do so. It means the overtime is mandatory and your soul is theirs. So is it fair to say that most companies are Shang Tsung? I think that's fair. I think we can all understand that point of view. Beautiful lightning bolts. Okay, I forgot how much fun Storm Draft was. Oh, and what do we have here? I think this is the perfect time to pick up the tiny crocodile heart and get ourselves a gigantic maximum HP pool. What's that? You don't necessarily agree with me? Well, I've already got the relic in my hands. So what sort of year has 2023 been for gaming in its history? I'll tell you, it's been a very awkward year in many places. Now, let's be fair, we haven't quite hit July yet. It is June 22nd as of the time of this recording. Okay, this is not working out well. I'm gonna lose this run. I've barely even gotten started. Are you serious right now? Wow, this is really going poorly. I don't normally play this badly, so I don't know quite what's going on. At least not with a build that I've made myself. I don't know, I'm feeling a little awkward right now. So here's what I mean when I say the year has been awkward for gaming. So on one hand, we've had some really amazing things come out, and things that are still going to come out. Like Final Fantasy 16, Diablo 4, maybe. Keep in mind, I still hold a particularly strong grudge against Activision Blizzard, but apparently the game is good. I'm just waiting for them to blindside their players with the infinite microtransactions and time savers. Because what else would Activision Blizzard be if not overly greedy and horrible? But this isn't a video about Diablo 4. I was about to say Diablo Floor. Oh my goodness. Like, yeah, I'm recording this later at night than usual, but geez, normally I have more command over my linguistics than that. Okay, we could really use some extra damage. Cross that bridge when I get to it. I mean, I guess I could pick up the candies. Those are extra damage. Just not quite in the way I intended. But back to what I was saying. With things like Diablo 4, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16... Like, there have been a lot of good things that have come out this year. But that just creates even more disparity from the things that have come out so far that are just god-awful. Things like, Forspoken, if anyone still even remembers that game. Lord of the Rings Gollum, Redfall. And the personal worst thing that I think has come from this year, no news on Shadow of the Erd Tree. Like, come on, From Software, what's taking you so long? I guess I shouldn't rush it. It takes time to create a masterpiece. Yeah, this year has been just chock full of oddities when it comes to the disparity between the good games and the bad games that have come out. I don't know how I feel about having Bubble Barrage, but there it is. Alright, let's grab this. And that got me to thinking, why has there been such a disparity? And that comes down to generally comes down to the studios and publishers dealing with these games. And it doesn't surprise me that there have been some big name things that came out and everyone said, oh, that's kind of shit, now isn't it? And a lot of that is because let's just say it like it is. Studio interference. Well, that's more true when it comes to bad movies than video games. And in video game land, normally it's because of publisher interference. And I think it's easy to see things like that happening with... Oh, on the disappointing end, I should also mention the cancellation of Overwatch's, actual PvE story mode. The thing that would have given the characters talent trees, more options, replayability for the game in general. The reason to keep playing the game. Just nothing much, just that little thing of actually giving people a reason to care. Small thing, really, especially since all Activision cares about is getting people to buy their season passes. Oh, I'm sorry, battle passes. It's not the same thing anymore because they changed the word. Grab that. I don't know if it'll be useful, but hey, I have it. Alright, so I think what we do is we grab this, And the whole idea is to be very careful when fighting Atlas because we want to take our bonuses with us. And it's very easy to see where a lot of these projects fumbled. Redfall fumbled because Bethesda probably just wanted it out sooner and they were banking on people's hype. And there we go. Yeah, I don't care about that. But that gives us a nice little 10% bonus damage. It's definitely better than what we would have gotten out of the Chaos Scanner. But yeah, it's very easy to see where a lot of these projects went wrong. See that. Like, I already mentioned Redfall, but some of the other failures are like, you know, with Daedalic Entertainment, maybe the problem is that, like, I know the problem could very well be the Embracer Group and them just wanting to milk Lord of the Rings more and more. But it is also a smaller dev team, and they probably just didn't quite have the resources to make what they were trying to make. So do you blame that on them? Do you blame that on Embracer Group for just being shitheads in general? Do you blame that on, you know, Daedalic for not having enough information to make a proper game with? And as per usual, the answer probably lies somewhere in the middle. I think it's a combination of not quite having the right talent with not quite having enough money to make what they were trying to make. I mean, Daedalic isn't exactly a gigantic AAA studio. Like, they probably didn't have the funding to quite make what it is that they were trying to make. But I mean, a company like Arcane, like, you can look at it as, yeah, they probably should have known better, but let's also think about how the business of making games works. Like, do we think that the same developers that made Prey and Dishonored were still a part of Arcane Studios at this point? There's a good chance that no, they probably weren't. So I mean, all the reviews that are saying, like, is this even the same Arcane Studios that brought us this? No, it's not. Then again, you'd have to think that some of the lessons from the old studio employees would have stayed behind, wouldn't you? So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Let's see, it was... I forget, but I'm grabbing that. Actually, no, I should leave that as it was. Now, obviously, we're going to want to grab the token of health. There we go, now we have enough money for it. There I go hiccuping on camera. What the hell's wrong with me? Come on, diaphragm, you can't just relax for, 45 minutes at a time while I do recording. Jeez, what's wrong with you? Oh, whoops. I have a lot of projectiles. This'll help. Now, Overwatch 2 is a very curious case because Blizzard has been doing nothing but fucking with Overwatch fans for years now. Like, I hope they didn't think that they could just continue to endlessly screw with their fan base and everyone would just be like, oh, it's okay, it's Blizzard, they must have a bigger plan. No, they don't. They have Bobby Kotick. They have Bobby Kotick and a turd in a sock, and that's supposed to lead them to victory all the time? Now, I'm hearing that Diablo 4 is a really good game and potentially the best in the Diablo series. I'm just wondering how that's going to pan out when they start doing the seasonal content and all the things that they're going to want everyone to pay extra for. And I've already heard that their microtransactions are definitely shit. Now, to me, it doesn't make any sense to have microtransactions in a full-price game to begin with. And if people are really setting the bar so low as to say, yeah, the game has microtransactions, but it's a good game, really. Like, that wasn't enough to save Diablo Immortal, so why are we giving this a pass? Because it's not primarily a mobile phone game? That's not really much of a reason to give something a pass. Besides, if we're judging quality of release based on the platform it's released on, there's a lot of things that are way better than they have any right to be. And when I say that, I mean, and I don't take this as me endorsing it because I haven't played the game, but I've heard good things about Genshin Impact. I hear good things about Honkai Star Rail, and yes, I'm aware that they're like RPG gacha games, but at the same time, at least that isn't nickel and diming you every time you want to do an optional dungeon, Diablo Immortal. That doesn't mean that their business practices are good. It just means that they're maybe a bit more reasonable. And then again, maybe I'm just looking for any reason to hate on Activision Blizzard, in which case, you got me, but there's a reason I boycott their stuff. Like, as much as I love Elden Ring, I refuse to spend money on Sekiro because I don't want and I don't want any of my hard-earned cash going into Activision Blizzard's pocket. And do you understand how difficult that must be trying to avoid playing an obvious game of the year just because I hate Activision Blizzard that much? Now, some of you are probably saying, that's going too far, Dark Sage. I say if you're not willing to actually stick to your guns and, you know, actually follow through on something when it's difficult, then, you know, I just think there's no merit in only doing something when it's easy, is what I'm trying to say. Hey. Excuse me, fuckfaces, where did you come from? Bastards. Nice. And I could spend this entire time just talking about the awful releases that have come out. But that's not all that's come out. There's been Tears of the Kingdom, which I'm hopefully going to be in a position to actually pick up and play for myself soon. There's Final Fantasy 16 recently released, and I've been hearing that that game is a real banger. Like, there's a lot of really positive things that have come out this year as well. And that's led me to thinking, well, what's the difference? What is the big difference between these releases? And there goes my bonus for the Idealist scorecard. I think the difference is whether or not you're making something out for passion or for profit. Because if you're making something for passion, then you... Oh yeah, that's another win for this year's Hi-Fi Rush. But the entire idea being that when you release something that you've made because you're passionate about it and because you like what you're putting out there and it's really good, you'll get far more accolade for that than something that, you know, might be technically good but was obviously released as cynically as possible for a quick cash grab. I mean, another good example, going back to that, a good example of that is Redfall. The story behind that game is that even the studio themselves really didn't like working on it. Like, and when I guess I shouldn't say even because they're the ones doing all the work, but when the studio devs are telling you, hey, what we have here is a fucking lemon, can we go back to the drawing board and make something that we're actually good at? You know, that should be telling you something. I think that's partially why we've been hearing news about Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed, and how they're trying to scale back the project, and the whole thing isn't just, you know, trying to ape Skyrim as much as humanly possible, because they're not trying to make something with the same narrative and the same scope. And that makes me go, okay, I can respect that. You're trying to make something that you want to make and you know how to make. That I can respect. Now, that's not necessarily coming out this year, but, I mean, there you go. And even though I am saying good things about Final Fantasy XVI, can't say that I have the ability to play it until it's no longer a PS5 exclusive. I'll be able to play that game when it gets released on PC, but not a moment sooner. And that's, of course, assuming that it gets released on PC, and, you know, I would think it would. Okay, it's not a strong damage increase, but it's still a damage increase. No, nothing here I want. Now, considering the bender that Square Enix has been on lately, I'm just gonna say this now. Keep an eye on Final Fantasy XVI, because some of the things Square Enix has been trying to get into are pretty shifty. Like, it would not surprise me if after the release of the game and after it's garnered all these good reviews, they're like, "We're so glad that you're loving our game. Thank you very much. Now, if you really want to show how much you love us, you'll buy some of these Final Fantasy XVI NFTs." And that's not even a stretch of the imagination, because Square Enix has been dabbling in NFTs for a while now. That was really dumb of me. That was even more dumb of me. But like in the latest Nintendo Direct, they brought up that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was successful, and they just said thank you, and that was it. Now, we're almost guaranteed to see DLC come out for that game, partially because of its success, and partially because, of course. But it's clear to me that, at least as of right now, the idea right now is that they just want to express sentiment for people liking what they put out into the world, and again, I can respect that. And I think that's really the difference between the games that are successful and the ones that aren't, is the ones that are very clearly just thrown out there just to have a product in front of our eyes, those are the ones that end up not being good. Like, can you honestly say that Square Enix looked at their bland open world game with almost nothing to do in it, with a mediocre magic and combat system, and their nice buggy release, and said, yeah, that's what people want? No, they were just trying to get a product in front of people's eyes. But let's also remember, Square Enix were the publishers for that game. I don't know who the dev team was for Forspoken, but if it was developed in-house, ooh, Square Enix, you need to back up. You need to rethink this whole thing you're doing here. Definitely take that. So I think what we're seeing is this basically this year in review is the year of art for yeah, it's the year of art versus product, of passion versus cynicism. And I think we're finally reaching the point where people are saying enough is enough. Don't hand me this janky, broken piece of crap and expect me to cradle it as if it were my firstborn child. Aren't you lucky? Oh yeah, no breezy gray canvas for me. I should be more careful. Okay, what? I hate elemental summoners. And, you know, on that same point, if it turns out I am right, and we're going to start seeing something really insidious from Diablo 4 post-release, that just shows where the priorities of that company lie. They don't care. I'm willing to bet this. They don't care about continuing their legacy or about a narrative at all. They're just looking for cash. Like, Activision Blizzard is just an extension of Bobby Kotick at this point, and you know that man doesn't care about anything. And if he does, well, let's be fair, he cares about money. He cares about continuing to fill up his dragon's hoard full of stuff. That's all he cares about. Business or artistic integrity, creativity, ideas. Bobby ain't got time for that. Oh, there goes my idealist scorecard bonus. That's a shame. Now, if you were to ask me where I'm going with all this, the obvious thing that I would be asking is, hey, just don't keep spending your money on soulless garbage. Like, I know that's kind of easier said than done nowadays, but trust me, you'll be a lot happier if you focus your attention on things that are made for the joy of it instead of just to make more money. And I'm aware that for these companies, gaming is business. I'm not even saying that they shouldn't try to make money. They just shouldn't be trying to do it so cynically and dastardly. Like, I've had enough of just soulless corporations in general. there's really nothing here I want. Just grab that. Oh, that didn't work out. Whoops. Okay, Stormdraft kinda sucks. Not against mobs, but against bosses, kinda sucks. So, next time I try that, I'll switch around Flame Cleaver and Stormdraft. Oh, and there's still more good stuff coming out for 2023 as well. Like, at the moment, I'm a little skeptical of Starfield, but we've got Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario RPG Remake coming out. We've got Pikmin 4, Pikmin 1 and 2 just got re-released in high def on the Switch. Like, there's lots of things to be happy about and to be looking forward to. But if this year's flops have told us anything, it's that we really need to be careful where we're spending our money and what we're hyping up in the gaming landscape, because not everything that glitters is made of gold, y'all. And I'm probably preaching to the choir when I'm saying that, but it's worth repeating because so many people fall into horrible, insidious gaming traps, and I'm hoping y'all are keeping your precious time and money reserved for things that you know you'll enjoy. And even though I said that they're probably going to add in some insidious stuff post-launch, I hope that doesn't happen. I want Diablo 4 to be a good game. I want Final Fantasy 16 to be a good game. I don't go out of my way going, oh, I hope there's a failure I can talk about now. Who does that? Who goes around in their day looking for things to piss them off aside from Twitter blowhards? No, I want these things to be good, and I hope they remain that way and that we don't get sneaky shit thrown in on the side. I'm just saying, look for it, be aware of it, and pay attention when it shows up, because it's bound to happen somewhere along the line. I just hope it doesn't happen to these things that we might actually respect. But that's all for me. I want to thank you guys very much for popping in and watching my run and listening to me ramble on and on for a little while. I appreciate you spending your free time with me is what I'm trying to say. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night wherever you might happen to be, and I will see you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and take care, everybody.